Hey everyone, happy Monday. What a great way to start the work week. Slipping and sliding all over the place, accidents all over Northwest Arkansas. I want to give you the details here on what's going on. First of all, this is iDrive Arkansas. There's been a morning of freezing drizzle. And while freezing drizzle doesn't sound like a major deal, it has been. And even though the roads look fine, it only takes just a little bit. Here you'll see an accident. This is in the River Valley where the majority of the accidents have been this morning in the River Valley. And we've got more precipitation on the way, so I felt it was necessary to give you a Facebook Live update. Josh Rugger has been in the studio this morning. Zach Gilday was on last night, preparing you for the freezing drizzle and the slick road conditions. I can tell you this, that there's more precipitation on the way, and it looks to be more ice and sleet. So and unfortunately, the temperatures are a lot colder than what the models suggested. So we're going to kind of go through all of that and show you what's going on. So first of all, let's give you an idea on all the road conditions. And there's a lot of areas that are ice patches, and there's a lot of areas that are covered, especially I-49. I-49 is a mess. You can see the accidents that are popping up left and right. And so what we'll do is we'll show you this across the area. So I-49 definitely has that ice accident. So here's one right here, located just to the south of Pitkin Corner, an 18-wheeler accident. That's about to back up traffic, and that is northbound. So if you're traveling northbound, you'll encounter that. Here's some of the areas. Look at this. Just kind of like a little haze, a little freezing fog mist, and not real good there. You can see all that precipitation. So Alex, I see your comment right here. Well, Jacob actually said this. Any hinted at thunder thoughts? Yeah, I have thoughts about that. We definitely have that potential for thunder. Look at all the lightning that's happening to the southwest of Tulsa. This, by the way, is GR2. Here, we'll go ahead and we'll smooth that radar so you can see it looks a little better on. But look at all the lightning that's happened and all this activity. Now, if you notice, this is coming towards Northwest Arkansas. This is making a beeline for the Northwest Arkansas and Benton and Washington County areas. Now, the models have showed a lot of precipitation in the River Valley this morning, and it's kind of been all over the place where this is shifting. And yes, I do think thunder, freezing rain, thunder, sleet is going to be very possible with this system. Now, this doesn't show precip type, but this does. And so this orange right here is represented as sleet. So hopefully this is sleet and not ice, because ice, no good, no bueno, where you have freezing drizzle and freezing rain, and that's going to accumulate on elevated surfaces. Now, sometimes the models are a little underdone as to how warm those low-level temperatures can be, because remember we talked about it on the air on Thursday night. Thursday night we were mentioning how it would basically be like an ice sandwich. So a warm sandwich, because you have cold air above, you have cold air below, and then you have very warm air in the mid-levels. That's melting a lot of the precipitation off. That cold air is a little deeper at the bottom of the sandwich, then what that will lead to is a little more sleet. And to put this plainly, glazed donut is freezing rain, where it's kind of covered and encased in frosting and ice. Sleet bounces off of power lines. It bounces off of elevated surfaces, and it does not accumulate. However, it still can be very slick. So let's go back to our mega Doppler and look at all the lightning that's popping up. And if we notice, we put this into motion, and you can see how that makes its run for Northwest Arkansas. So there's going to be the potential for thunder, freezing rain, and thunder sleet. And hopefully it is sleet and not freezing rain. But I don't know. The models are a little underdone in terms of how, number one, how cold it's been. Because the cold air is way stronger than what the model showed. Because it's saying we'd be in the 20s and 30s right now. Let's see what the NBM1 viewer said. We would be right about now. It says we get up to 28. I don't know if I buy that or not. I don't see how we warm up very much. Now, this is what the future track model shows. So first of all, it's underdone in terms of what's happening now to our west. So this system comes in. This pink that's showing up, that is in fact freezing rain. In order to determine if this is freezing rain, we have to look at the model sounding, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's go to the HRRR, the newest one, because this updates every hour, so we get an idea if it's correct or not. And we're going to go to a forecast loop, and we're going to go to a composite reflectivity. We're going to go to winter weather, so we can go to freezing rain. And let's see when it's showing total ice accumulation. So there it is. Now it's already accumulating as ice. Let's see if it truly is ice, because we're going to get the sounding and we're going to see. And that is very close to a sleet profile and not ice. So you look at this and you can see that warm nose. It's not a super strong of a warm. But what we're talking about here is this is a skew T. This is how meteorologists detect what type of precipitation we're going to get. This is that cold air. So here's your warm sandwich. You have warm air right here because it's just above freezing. See that zero blue line right there that runs up the system? Let me go ahead and do this real quick. I'm going to make this a little bigger for you guys so you can see it a little bit better. And again, I'm doing this Facebook Live. Here we go. I'm going to zoom in, make it a little bit bigger so you can see. Okay, perfect. Now you can see it a little better on your screens. This blue line right here is what's called an isotherm, meaning everywhere along that line is exactly 0 degrees Celsius. It's kind of hard to see those blues, but you get the idea. This red and green, the red is the temperature profile, the green is the dew point. So everything under here is below freezing. And in fact, really cold, 24, way below freezing. Everywhere to the right of this line is above freezing. So what's happening? You're having snowflakes or precipitation, freezing drizzle that's falling. It's melting a little bit right in this area, but then it has enough time to freeze and become ice, become sleet. And if you notice, there's the best precipitation type as it shows is sleet. So I think that hopefully it's showing freezing rain, but in fact, it may be sleet rather than freezing rain. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at precipitation. Here's the reflectivity with the precip type. So let's see what it shows. And so it's showing kind of a mixture of freezing rain and sleet. Now the problem is that when this system comes in, it's going to be a little stronger than the low-level thermal profile might be a little stronger. So let's see what happens here when we get closer to the middle of the day. Now this is more of a freezing rain profile, but it still has that deep layer of cold air, but man, is that close. That's kind of more freezing rain there. Let's see if it's down here. And so that's freezing rain too. See how that warm nose right there? And then you've got precipitation right here, snowflakes that are falling. They're melting as they get into this warm layer of air, and then they fall and then they freeze, but they don't have enough time to freeze into an entire ball of ice, so they accumulate and stick on elevated surfaces. Now I want to see if the models are trending good with the precipitation. So this is showing by 9 o'clock in the morning, 15Z. That's what it's supposed to look like at 9 o'clock in the morning. So let's go to the radar and see what it actually looks like. Yeah, a little underdone, I would say. I would say a lot underdone. So models aren't perfect at the precipitation trends. And on top of that, if we get thunder sleet or thunder freezing rain, that is really going to cause some issues quick on the road. Sleet is still bad. I'm stuck on our road. Our road is ice. Yeah, Laura, it is not good. It surely is not good. If we go back to iDrive Arkansas, you can see there's roads everywhere that are iced over. So if we go to local roads, primary roads, you name it, and more accidents keep popping up. Here's one right here. One vehicle accident. You're thinking it's just fine. It doesn't look like there's much on the roads. It's not like snow, but it's deceptively scary. Here's an accident that happened, one vehicle accident. Let's look at the camera here. iDrive Arkansas is a great resource to see these accidents and to see everything happening. So it looks like ice is accumulating on the cameras, that freezing drizzle. Look, you can see the guardrail here where it was hit. Now, Caitlin, tell me what you were asking right there. Let's see if I can see your comment. Let me know what you were asking about there. Doesn't take much to significant impact travel. Nope. Boy, that's a good question because a general manager of our TV station stuck in Russellville. There's not going to be much of a break. There's going to be more precipitation. We're going to go through that. I'm going to show you what I mean. There's going to be 2 or 3 waves of precipitation, with the strongest being today into tomorrow. Overturned near Gateway. Don't know if it's cleared up yet. Someone is asking if this could be an ice storm warning. So I asked about that, and I didn't look at all the sounding models because I just looked at what was happening this morning, looked at it last night, but it appears, hopefully, and the Weather Service is banking on this, that it's more sleet rather than freezing rain. My question is are the models handling the 850 temperature profile perfectly? Because if they're not, and it's underdone in terms of how warm that air is aloft, then we could be in trouble with more ice. But I just say that cautiously because I'm seeing it where it's supposed to be sleet and it's freezing rain, and it's supposed to be sleet and it's rain. So I've seen that before. Yeah, I don't think, as of now, the only upgrade would be to a winter storm warning, not to a ice storm warning. So because of what they're seeing. So let's look at the meso analysis. And in order to see if the models are handling this warm air advection properly, well, let's see. It looks pretty warm right there. So there is, okay, let me show you what I'm looking at here. So we want to know how strong that warm air advection is in the lower levels. And so we can see this right here that we're getting quite a bit of advection. What I mean by that is the winds are blowing this way, and it's basically perpendicular to the isotherms almost. What that does is that creates that warm air and it advects it northward. Now, the temperatures are a little colder in southwest Missouri, so that's more sleet and even snow at that point. But then right in here, you got a little bit of almost parallel flow to the isotherms at 850 millibars. You can really see that 850 millibar front where that precipitation's popping up. And right in there, we could get that warm nose that could be a little stronger than expected. Let's see what it does over time. This is all things that you do to look at. And so it's really close, but it might just be sleet and maybe even some sleet and snow in Benton County. So it appears to me that this ice storm may be setting up more in the river valley than it is in northwest Arkansas. Regardless, though, there's going to be issues. Let's look at the mostly unstable Cape, and look, it's got a lot of instability, even nudging into northwest Arkansas. So there's your thunder potential. Anything that's highlighted here is your thunder potential. And if we look at, there's a lot of instability in Oklahoma. And so when we go back to the radar, you can see that there's all the lightning that's popping up. So how about this? The 540 was bad at 430. My 4-wheel even slid on it. Yeah. Well, you can't ice. You're not going to get any traction on anything. That's not going to be good. So let me show you this. There's another accident just happened. Oh, it's the same one. You can't see it. So all of these areas are ice patches. And there's not many people. There are people driving, and a lot of them are driving the exact same speed they normally would on a beautiful day, and they hit those big, expansive overpasses and those bridges, and they've accumulated with freezing rain. And remember, the road is not as cold as the bridges because they can have the bridges have the cold air surrounding the entire bridge and the road, as is, when it's just a normal road, the ground insulates and keeps it just a touch and just a tad warmer. So that's a good reason why bridges and overpasses freeze first. All right, let's look at future track models. So here's what we've got. Here's the HRRR, and it's showing the precipitation coming in, mainly as freezing rain and sleet. And then that second burst of energy comes in this afternoon. Now, this is when, and just to let you know about the timing, this is right around noon. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock right there. And then it moves out. Now, that's one wave. But we've got another wave tomorrow, as you'll see. So this is overnight tonight. And then here comes the next wave as more precipitation's on the way. Although this one shows it being a little farther south. Now you have to watch out for these because also the models are really warming it up. But I really have my doubts about that. So, and models are also bringing snowfall. I don't know if I believe that either. So, to answer your questions about ice storm warning, the Weather Service is considering going in a winter storm warning due to the sleet accumulation. So, there's going to be sleet accumulation. Now, the ice totals, I think, have gone up. And the reason for that is because the models have underdone the amount of precipitation. It always happens. It's a struggle with meteorologists, and you have to remember, and I say it all the time, that the models aren't perfect. They're not going to get all the precipitation trends perfectly. They just won't. It's impossible. Now, it appears that this system is kind of shifting south according to what we're seeing for tomorrow, but I still, this is definitely, Jeff, not 2009. Nor did we ever say it was going to be. But here's a look at the European. So this is the latest European. I'll show you this. We'll bring this up. What the heck? Okay. So here is the system that comes in. There's the precipitation. I'm looking at the wide view because I want to see what this low does. There's more precipitation Tuesday. And then it kind of shifts south a little bit. Does it really shift south? I hope. But here's a look at, this is the vorticity. Positively tilted trough, all these little pieces of energy coming in. See that little spin? And then eventually that makes its way through by Thursday. The European has been on this like a fly on stick paper, though. Done a really, really good job. So to sum this all up, here's what we've got going on tonight. So the rest of the day, we're going to see this freezing drizzle turn to freezing rain and sleet. There's going to be issues with this batch of precipitation that's coming in from the west. It's very large. And now the models have hinted that this is focused on northwest Arkansas. We're going to see in just a bit when it comes in what it really does bring. It appears that it's going to be sleet. That's what the models show. That's what they have, because remember that warm sandwich, that warm isn't too strong, and the cold air at the surface is a little deeper. So it allows that sleet pellet, that ball of ice, to totally freeze before it hits the ground. So it bounces off of things. So that's a raindrop that's totally refreezing into a ball of ice. So that's what it's expected to be. Now, because of the precipitation trends, I would expect a winter storm warning just from the amount of sleet. Now, the river valley is probably going to be a little warmer, as we showed you earlier. And I don't know if you saw that with the Storm Prediction Center when we look at the 850 millibars. And by the way, we could do this too, precip type. So this is showing 5 is essentially ice pellets, and 1 is freezing drizzle and freezing rain. And so 10 is unknown. And so there's kind of all sorts of different things going on with the precip type. If we look at the freezing level, well, then we know we're obviously already below freezing. If we look at the, oh, that's cool, winter skew T maps. So that shows you the freezing rain. That's brand new. That's something cool. So there's all the different sounding profiles for different areas. That looks a lot like freezing rain right there, especially 6 hours out. So let's look at the wrap. We haven't looked at that. The wrap model is pretty good. And we'll zoom in on the southern plains. Let's go to winter. Let's go to precip type, and let's see what this shows. So it's showing ice, and it's showing a lot of ice. It does not have sleet. So that's kind of an issue. Let's look at the sounding and see what it shows. With the wrap is showing more ice than sleet, and that definitely does look like freezing rain right there. That's a freezing rain profile because you have snowflakes that are melting when they hit this level right here at just about 3 kilometers. Then as that drops down, you have melting the entire time, and then it's trying to freeze, but it might not have enough time to freeze into a ball of ice, and it's a chilled raindrop, super cooled, that freezes on contact. So if we go to this and go to the winter profile, watch this. We're going to go to temperature, generate new sounding. This will show freezing rain for winter precipitation. And it shows sleet. That looks more like a freezing rain profile to me, though. Best guess. I don't think so. All right. So nasty commute. There's an accident right there. One vehicle rollover, and we had a comment about that. That's close to Garfield. It's just the roads are not good. All right. Let's go through some comments here. Let's see here. The 540 bridge, yeah, we had that. This will be affecting so many of their drivers. I know. Our street is completely coated with ice in the middle of Fayetteville. Yep. And temperatures are cold, man. They dropped big time. I need to travel. I to Springdale from Alma. Are road conditions going to get better? They really aren't. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. They're going to get worse as the precipitation increases. I don't know. RDOT said they treated, but there's a lot of areas that are really big issues. I may have missed this, but have ice totals gone up? I do believe so, but it's just a very fine line as to whether it's sleet or whether it's freezing rain. Me personally, I would be hesitantly cautious to say that it's going to be all sleet, looking at that warm nose that's coming in. It's not as bad as 2009 because 2009 happened. It already is in the books. It already occurred. So everything has to come together in order for this to be even remotely close to 2009, and it doesn't look like it will. It looks like the precipitation will shift. Today it's in northwest Arkansas. Tomorrow it kind of shifts a little bit south with that energy. But remember, the models aren't completely perfect. So thank you so much for the detailed update from my home. Yeah, you're very welcome. Would have done a Facebook Live yesterday, but there's something going around, and my wife was really under the weather. That's a good question. I think Colby's still on his cruise. How much ice are we going to get in Newton County? It's a good question because there's already ice accumulating on roads. There's already areas that are encased in ice. Like check this out. Those already have a glaze on the trees, and you can see that fog. Now, something interesting, as I went to the gym with my son yesterday, I was like, and look at the wind too. You can see those power lines shifting around. I remember the 2009 ice storm, and it was cold, it was damp, it was cloudy. It was right before that system moved in, and it kind of reminded me of the conditions before an ice storm. I'm not saying this is the 2009 because that was an awful system. But there were 3 waves of precipitation, one on Monday into Monday evening, and then Tuesday got really bad, and then it continued into early Wednesday morning. So he's on his way back. Okay, well then he'll kill everything, and that's why there won't be anything. Working in Lowell, better to travel home to Bentonville or not around lunch. Boy, I really can't recommend traveling, guys. If you do, take it extremely slow, but you could take it slow and then someone else behind you is not, and before you know it, you get plowed into. There was a 7-car pileup on the Highway 59 bridge near Barling across the Arkansas River. That was this morning. Josh was covering that. One of the reasons, too, I'm doing this Facebook Live is because Josh is not able to go live from the studio because they're recording something, which is Good Day NWA. They're doing that right now, and therefore he can't be live. So that's another reason why I'm covering this from the house. So I just wanted to let you know. In fact, I'm going to send... Yeah. I'm going to send this as soon as Josh can get on after they're done recording. All right, guys, let's see comments. Are roads in Van Buren okay at this moment? Not really. It looks like they've gotten a little better, and they do typically when the temperatures do warm a little bit, and so there might be an opportunity there where it does look like the roads are better and they have been treated, but you have to be careful. You have to be careful with those bridges and overpasses. So maybe just take it slow, be careful, because those roads do look better in Van Buren. So always check iDrive Arkansas. It'll tell you if there's ice patches. Right now the road is clear. And there's also no freezing drizzle. So that's one thing that happens is that the temperatures start to warm a little bit. And with that warming, just a little bit of warming. Reason for that is, well, you're starting to, you're not in the cold of the morning. You don't have the temperature and the dew point is close together, so you don't have the drizzle as much. But again, we're getting more precipitation, and then it's coming in here pretty quick. So I wonder what Tulsa is getting, if it is really, in fact, sleet, or if it's more freezing rain. And they're getting some lightning, too. I'd like to see what they're getting. I'm going to ask them. So, at your office. Let's see here. Josh said they're almost done. There's a lot of MPing reports. No. Looks like they're reporting sleet. So it is, in fact, sleet. It's interesting, too, because you look at affirmative. So, yep. All right. Well, that's good news. It's bad news because the roads are still going to be nasty, but it's good news in terms of ice accumulation and different things like that. So we're not looking at that as much, which is good news. Let me go up here. So just to let you know, we're doing a Facebook Live. It's about 9:15. There's lightning, as you can see, a lot of it in the Tulsa area. Tulsa just said it's sleet. So hopefully that remains the case. Now, if we look at what the environment is like in Tulsa, boy, that's a lot of precipitation, and you can really see that blowing up. Let's go back to this real fast. Let's look at the thermodynamics. Let's look at the 850 millibar analysis. And so Tulsa is a little colder than our area, though. So it is sleet, and you can see the reason it is sleet because it's below freezing. However, we're a little warmer than Tulsa. So there's a chance it could mix a little bit with freezing rain instead of just all sleet. Boy, it's always got to be right on the fine line, doesn't it? This area is just the most difficult for forecasting winter weather, hands down. No doubt, in my mind, in this part of the country, this is probably one of the more difficult places to forecast winter weather. So let's look at all on this. This is the NBM. This is the newest one. We're going to look and see if this, in fact, does have a lot of freezing rain potential. And we'll let this load up here in the meantime. All right. I moved here from Alaska. We'll be going back to visit. There's an Alaskan secret dealing with these conditions. Stay home. Don't go anywhere. That's exactly correct. You got it. 100%. So we're going to look at precip type. So thankfully, as you can see, the precip type is showing about 60% probability that it's going to be more sleet than freezing rain. I hope the models are right. That's all I can say. If we look at ice accumulation, it also shows snow, but ice accumulation, it only has about 0.02 of an inch. So that is why we're not looking at as much of an ice storm warning for this area. And looking at the models, I would agree. I just hope the models are right. So now we're going to look up Fort Smith. Look at the Fort Smith area and see what it shows. In the meantime, while that loads, let's go back to some more comments here. Man, you got to love this winter. That's why it'll be warm again this weekend. Don't know what happens, and it's here. We'll see if it really does warm up as fast as they show, but I think the air mass will moderate a little bit. Do you think there will be similar road conditions tomorrow morning? I think no, because here's why. I think this one caught a lot of people off guard in terms of how bad freezing drizzle can be. It doesn't sound real bad, right? Drizzle, it's just lightly, misting. But man, if that happens over a long period of time, it's pretty bad. Oh, that's cool. You can call or text iDrive Arkansas for those that didn't know. They have an app too. It's good. How is the QPF on the latest HRRR? Not good, Ron. It's underdone. It's highly underdone. So we'll look at the very latest here on the 14Z. And so when we go to the analysis, this is what it analyzed as. Not very much. That's all it's showing right there. And so let's see. Yeah, it's underdone. It's completely underdone. There's some mesoscale processes that are way more than what it's showing. And so, yeah, that's a concern. But it is sleet, and sleet is going to bounce off of the power lines and the trees and all that stuff. But it does make everything nasty on the roads. It can be like throwing marbles on the floor. Yeah, ice is all over Salem Springs. You can't leave your driveway. That's right. There's been a lot of people that have had their work canceled. Yeah, we just looked at that, Ron. I was just showing you that. Yep, I just saw that. And what's interesting is that it just actually doesn't differentiate between sleet and snow. There's my cat. You can hear her in the background. She doesn't like this weather either. All sleet in Lincoln. Okay. So let's switch radars here real quick. In the meantime, thank you for that report, Alex. All sleet. That's good. Branson roads are terrible. Lighting up with people stuck all over. They sure are. Yikes. I have to drive from Bella Vista XNA tomorrow morning at 4:30. Will there be ice? Hopefully they can get. Yeah, I can imagine. I think our internet might be slowing down a little bit sometimes. That might be why it's getting staticky. Because I know it looks like I'm trying to load up the radar and it's having trouble. So here we go again. Another round of winter weather. In fact, we have 3 rounds coming. We have one today. I know exactly. My daughter needs to do that. She's sleeping. Come here, Pink. She's the loudest cat ever, huh? Pink. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, she's gone. Come here, Pink. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm glad school's canceled. I'm glad a lot of AMI days. She is a super loud cat. And Callie's sleeping in. She found out that it's an AMI day, and next thing she knows, she was back asleep. Pink. She won't stop either. She could quite possibly have the loudest meow ever. Man, this radar is taking a very long time to load. There we go. Finally. Let's bring this up here while it's loading. Okay, so we got some precipitation that's over Fayetteville. Now remember, this is in the higher, the beam's a little higher up off the ground, so about 6,000 feet. But Alex was already reporting sleet, so that's good to know. Quite a bit of lightning with this. I wonder if we get a thunder sleet storm like what we had in 2014 in March of 2014. What's my dog doing? Take a wild guess, Nikita. She is with Jennifer right now. So tomorrow morning is going to be interesting because it will be probably treated a little bit more. There will be a break in the precipitation. I don't think it's going to be precipitating overnight and into the morning, according to what I've seen. And also, there's a chance that the precipitation shield shifts southward. So we'll have to see how this all pans out because there's a lot of uncertainty if the models are handling this everything. I looked at the winds aloft temps, shows them below freezing tonight and staying there. Yeah, it will be below freezing. There's no doubt. The question is will there be precipitation? Because there could quite possibly be a break in the precipitation. There's the HRRR. Now, that's the 1 kilometer. Let's go to the composite reflectivity and see if this is handling it. Okay, so that's handling it a little bit better. Let's do a loop. And let's see what we got. Yeah, it's showing a lot of precip. But see what happens? Watch. There it is. That is 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6. And then see how that shifts east? That's going to allow everything to kind of calm down on the roads, especially if they treat them. Now, there will be a point when it gets too cold that it won't matter anymore. So let's go to the 12Z and see what we've got because we can extend this out a little longer. So there's the break in the precipitation like I talked about. This, by the way, is tomorrow morning. No precipitation. So I don't think there's going to be as bad of road conditions tomorrow morning because you have to have precipitation. And then you see it lifting northeastward, and then that second wave remains farther south. Hey, we got Josh Rugger in the house. So let's go ahead and we'll bring him up. What's going on, Josh?
Hey there, Dan. It's going pretty good. Been a pretty hectic morning, to say the least.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes.
So a lot of people are asking, and you could bring up some of the graphics there in the weather lab. Did you just get done with the recording?
We just got done with the recording, yes. So we're all good here in studio. Shouldn't have any more interruptions.
So something that I wanted to let you know that we looked at and that we talked about is that it appears that there's sleet falling. And I looked at the profiles, and according to the models, there's not much of an 850 warm nose. It is a little above freezing, but it may hold off as just sleet. And that's why the Weather Service is not at this point considering an ice storm warning. It looks like they did upgrade the Little Rock area, though, to an ice storm
Scott
warning.
County there just got issued with an ice storm warning. I'll tell you, that's a good sign because we'd rather have sleet over freezing rain. Sleet could still cause problems, but you can get off the roadways a little bit easier for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't accumulate on power lines, on trees, and everything else. So we're getting comments here. Jeanette said sleeting in Prairie Grove. We had sleet in Lincoln. Go ahead and show Mega Doppler real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can. And do you have it brought up from Tulsa? Yeah, look at all that. Is that from SRX?
That's from Tulsa, KINX.
Okay, KINX. So I'll let you bring that
over here.
So you can see that all that lightning too that's showing up on radar. Notice that as well with these bands that are pushing towards our area.
So if we get thunder sleet, that's really going to cause a lot of precipitation to come down really fast, and that's going to be a heavy sleet accumulation where it starts piling up in your gutters and stuff like that.
And that's why the National Weather Service is considering that winter storm warning for sleet rather than an ice storm warning if this does indeed all fall as sleet.
Got bad news though. Look at this: raining in Lowell and Cave Springs.
That's not good.
So
that's not good.
There's going to be those areas where it's not exactly sleet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, well, how do you think the roads are going to be at 11 o'clock tonight? I think the precipitation moves east. I think the more they treat the roads, the better there will be. But those bridges and overpasses will still be nasty, in my opinion.
I still think there will be lingering freezing drizzle tonight, too.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right,
do.
that's something new that I haven't looked at. I know you looked at the models a little more in depth. How would you say they're handling the precipitation trends? Pretty poorly?
Very poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've handled pretty much every aspect of this system extremely poorly because if you go to even yesterday, they didn't show nearly as much a precipitation shield across northwest Arkansas. And now you're seeing that at least this first batch that is moving through is literally taking aim at NWA right now with that, with that undersleet.
It really is.
I think the models are doing a very poor job right now, and they are doing a very poor job as well with the temperatures, as we've seen this morning.
Yeah, when you say temperatures, you're talking about the surface temperatures. You're talking about the temperatures at the surface. Now, I wanted to show this as you're bringing up Mega Doppler. We were looking at the warm nose here with the 850 millibars. So check this out as I bring this up, Josh. This is the Storm Prediction Center's mesoanalysis. And this is some warm air right here, 5-6 degrees above 0 degrees. So plus 6 degrees at 850. That is some pretty strong warm air. And look, it's almost perpendicular. So it's my thought that maybe that 850 millibar warm nose is going to be underestimated in the river valley.
It always is. It always is underestimated by the models.
Sleet in West Fayetteville, says Cherie. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Silent Springs, very icy. I was sliding around trying to walk to my car before I decided to head back inside. My cat finally stopped crying too, stopped meowing. So I think she gave up on getting fed from me.
He's like, I just got to deal with it now.
I'm tied down here with the microphone.
Duty calls.
So we'll look at the precip type here. This is kind of cool. It shows 5 as ice pellets. So there's the probability these are all ice pellets. But then notice when you get farther southeast, you're starting to see 1s and 2s. And 10 is unknown. But the freezing rain, and notice how it doesn't show anything over northwest Arkansas. And I think that's because it just hasn't done a lot of precipitation there yet. So either way, it's going to be interesting with what
Isn't it?
happens.
Isn't it amazing though, Dan? Like,
Did I just hear a rumble here?
no, that was just some stuff going on in the background.
Okay.
That's some stuff going on in the background. Um, I think this is pretty incredible. Well, not incredible. This is bad, obviously, but it's kind of crazy when you compare the system that we had last week with all that snowfall, right, in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, and it caused impacts on the roadways, but melted off pretty quickly over the ensuing days. With this system that's moving through, we just had some freezing drizzle, a glaze of ice on the roadways, and it caused all of those issues. It's Ice is the worst possible thing, and it's been proven today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you don't
You
even
can't
measure
drive
the
on it.
ice. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
problem is that people think it's fine because it looks fine.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Psh, whatever. Those weathermen always talking about how bad it's going to be. A little bit of freezing drizzle, big deal. Next thing you know, you hit I-49 and you hit a big, long, expansive bridge and it's iced over. And before you know it, you're sliding.
Yep.
Especially if
And-
you're going the speed limit. You've got to slow down. I just don't think people slow down. Hey, we got
I'll
a
tell
rain
you what-
sleet makes it to Mayfield.
Mhm.
That's
Well,
interesting.
I'll
If
tell you
it's
what.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Like this morning, I was driving or attempting to drive from Bella Vista to work today, and I couldn't even make it up the first hill with my car. I mean, the side roads are just disastrous right now. I had to turn back around, get my dad with his vehicle that had better tires, better grip to get me down here. And even then, we were going 40 miles per hour on the interstate. And even then, we had like very little traction. So that tells you just how slick it can get with only a few hundredths of an inch of ice. In fact, I don't even think we had a few hundredths of an inch. I think it was just a glaze.
And it's I mean, you look at it and you can barely notice it, and then you go out and bam,
It's
you
deceptive.
get hit. Jeremy Butler says, "Will that band of?" By the way, I think your profile pic kind of sums it up right there. That's exactly what I would be like. So yeah, we're gonna get we're definitely getting that Northwest Arkansas. I love that. That's a great profile pic. But yeah, we're getting it, Jeremy. It's coming our way. Yeah, there's your do your dolphin laugh while you're at it too. Yeah. Hey, that was pretty good. That was really
I've been
good.
getting a lot of practice.
Yeah, that was really good. You could start making memes. More lightning that's popping up. So let's kind of sum this up. Bring us up full screen, Josh, and we'll talk about this. So, number one, we've got how many waves of precipitation coming up? Would you say 3?
Ooh,
Maybe
I
4?
say 3, maybe 4, because Thursday there's some indication that we get another wave of precip. And of course, I think the models are overdoing the temperatures quite a bit because it's got like upper 30s, lower 40s. I don't know about that. I think it will be warmer than what we see today and tomorrow, but I don't think it'll be that warm.
Yeah.
But maybe up to 4 rounds of winter precipitation.
Well, I was showing the upper level low, and I can do this again real quick. So this is the upper level low right here. Let me bring this up. Hold on, stand by. And so here is the upper level low to the west, southwesterly flow, cut off, which, by the way, we talked about. We said this is going to be a positively tilted trough. I even had tweets about it. And then you can see there's the low, and then there's going to be all these little pieces of energy that swing in. And so our only saving grace might be that it's a little colder, deeper than what was happening back in 2009, which means that, not as much ice. Now, will that continue to remain the case? I sure hope so.
Oh, man, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and honestly, the ice is probably one of the more difficult things to predict because you can see here's this that shows probability of, well, let me go to our area here. So this is the probability of sleet. So yeah, sleet is the purple, ice is the red. So there's still some probability of ice, but snow is not really a probability at all. Like it's not going to be a major snow. This is just not going to be.
Not nearly deep enough in terms of that
Yeah.
cold air for snow.
What's interesting too, because when you look at this, you look at the models, and they're showing snow a half inch. Remember what I said? To subtract about an inch from that, that gives you minus 0.6, and then this gives you minus 0.2.
Negative
So it's like,
snowfall.
yeah, I don't know. I don't see snow. I mean, there might be some snowflakes mixed in. There's a lot of things going on with the atmosphere, but
Yeah, especially in northern Benton County, I would say.
now what's interesting is the wrap. Look at the wrap. The wrap has a lot more ice
That's gorilla
rather
ice.
than, yeah, this is look at this. We click on this, but yet the sounding says it's sleet, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with. That looks more like, well, that does look like a sleet profile, because that's a pretty deep layer of cold air at the surface. And when we switch to this, I wish it would just default. Generate new sounding. This will show, in fact, that it is sleet.
That's why we look out the window with that meso analysis.
Yep. And this is looking out the window right here.
Yep.
But I don't know if you saw that 850 millibar tongue is pretty strong, man. Look at the 925. Look at how cold it is at 925. All below freezing. Really strong Arctic air. But then at 850, you got that warm nose. All this red is above freezing. Can you bring up the precipitation types graphic? Because I don't have that here, and I think a lot of people would love to see that.
The one where you compare all the precip types?
Yeah.
That one? Yeah. I could pull that up. But stand by, because I'm going to have to restart Max because it crashed again on weather 1.
Oh, no.
I've had to use weather 2 all morning.
Really?
Yeah.
So Alicia's saying the science behind the weather is fascinating. It sure is.
Absolutely. It's so intriguing.
So David says, Matthew, it doesn't look like a lot of moisture on the radar. It's not a consistent period of precip for a full day, so this is probably compared to thunderstorms. So Matthew said, I saw a comment on Twitter. A user replied to Zach and said, ain't enough moisture to worry about anything. First of all, I love how everybody's an expert on this, on the meteorology. Everybody feels like they have to share their expertise. Heads up, drizzle's not going to show up on radar unless it's very close to the radar site. Why is that? Because drizzle happens low in the atmosphere. And when you get farther away from the radar beam gets higher up because of the Earth's curvature. Therefore, over northwest Arkansas, you're not going to see freezing drizzle on the radar. And that's why the radar doesn't show the freezing drizzle. And that's why people look at the radar and be like, oh, everything's fine, no problems. All right, let me bring this up, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Winter precipitation types. Okay, so first of all, what we had, we had rain before it turned to snow. So this is what we saw with the last system. Now we're going to advance and watch what happens with that very cold air. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you this. I don't know if I can do, yeah, I guess I can. Cool. Let's see here.
That's pretty cool.
There we go. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So when I go to 925, this is that, see the dark blues? So that is in fact the colder air right there. The colder air is, can you point it out on the screen with your pointer on the freezing rain? You can see the cold layer of air. But it's right there. Freezes on contact. There's your cold air that's at the surface. Yep, right there. That small little thin little layer. And then above that, if we go to 850, there it is, warmer than the air at the surface. And there's your reds. So that's the warm air. And then we get above that and you get back to cold. Now, if we look at the 850 millibar temp convection, see, look at this. This is why I think there could be trouble with ice over parts of northwest Arkansas, because look, this is showing warmer temperatures are about to spread into northwest Arkansas, especially the river valley and southeast Arkansas. So
Yeah, that's where that ice storm potential is really enhanced.
because of all the precipitation.
Mhm.
So the sleet, if we go back to here and we go to the 850 millibar analysis, the sleet is in this range right here because, and I'll bring this up full real quick, and
Yeah,
we'll come
sorry,
back
this
to that.
is just crashing.
It crashed again?
It's just going all over the place right now.
Wow.
I got to pull it back up.
So there's the colder air at the in the upper levels, and then the cold air is deeper. So that's why that is precipitating as sleet. Yeah. Okay. And then you go a little bit farther ahead, and by the end of this system, we may get some snow where the air is colder all the way up. So there's a great example of how that works. Now, can you do the wedge of cold air too?
Yes.
Okay.
That one's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the wedge of cold air. This is the precipitation types. So this is exactly what we had on Sunday. The cold air came in. It's a shallow layer of Arctic air below freezing. At the same time, we're getting that warm layer of air that's above freezing, very cold air aloft, which we know. And so there's the precipitation falling as rain, as freezing rain, as sleet, and as snow. So Paige has a question here, Josh, and I think you can answer this. Will this all be gone by Friday? Yes, it will.
Yes, 100%. Because those temperatures are going to warm up really quickly after Thursday, even back in the upper 40s to lower 50s. We'll have nice stretch of winter for the weekend.
I'll be curious to see if that really happens because models typically try to take Arctic air. Arctic air is like a cement block. It's very hard to move.
It brings the pain.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about how stubborn it is to move. When do you think it'll be safe to drive to Northwest Arkansas from South Central Arkansas this week?
Oh,
Oh, Julie said freezing rain coming down right now. Julie, tell me where you're at because that's important. I need to know the area.
yeah, that's very serious.
I am going to guess just by guessing here. Let's see. I'm going to guess maybe Sonora. That's what I think. She's experiencing that.
Let's see.
See. So Julie, you can let us know where you're at. How do you think the roads will be for basketball game tomorrow?
Bad.
Libby said, we have freezing rain in the Savoy area. There you go. Savoy is seeing freezing rain too. So does it stay active next week? Matthew, come on. Let's just get through this
We're already
week
talking
first.
about next week. I can't even think about right now.
Jason said, got your arrows going down on the precip graphic. Yeah, the longer version has the arrows going up for some reason. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
I can't get it to it's take a long time to fix. There's a lot of points. And
So many keyframes.
I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, we have ice and freezing rain now. So Siloam Springs is getting freezing rain. And the precipitation isn't showing up on the radar because it's too low to the ground. But this is a heavy batch of precipitation. Look at this. That is so not good.
That's not good at all.
Things are about to go downhill really fast.
Because not even like Mega Doppler was picking up on the freezing drizzle this morning because it was so low to the ground. And every time I showed satellite and radar, I had to explain that it's because the radar beam can't get that low to pick up.
Yeah. Now it did show up in the river valley, right?
A little bit. You could see it like in southern portions of the river valley popping up a little bit, right around the Scott County area. But not even near Fort Smith, you could see it.
Look at the interesting. You see the pink in the river valley. You see the orange, which is sleet in Tulsa, and then you see the blue that snow in southwest Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron said, do you think the event at the BOK Center in Tulsa will be canceled tonight, which is wrestling? I'm thinking, isn't it? Isn't that what
I'm
it
not
is?
sure. I'm
Someone
not
said
familiar with that
something
game.
about it. With wrestling,
Wrestling.
you don't smell what the Rock is cooking. Let's see here. Yeah. You can't see me. John Cena. Did you see that Experian commercial that John Cena had, Dancing in the Roads? I was like, man.
I had not seen
It
that
was
yet.
yeah. Oh, hey, Lisa's calling. I'm gonna let you take over for a little bit.
Okay. All right, so let's go back to High Heating Cooling Mega Doppler here and take a look at that frozen precipitation that's beginning to move towards northwest Arkansas. Still showing some thunder across most locations right now. And again, this is that heavy batch that we were talking about. I want to also show future track here. So let's go back to the graphics. I'm going to pull these up, so stand by for just a moment. But we're going to go back to the graphics here. Hopefully it doesn't crash because I want to show you what the latest models are showing and what we're kind of expecting as this swings through. So stand by for just a few moments. I'll pull this up here. Let's use the graph model. I haven't seen what the graph's been pulling out yet. So let's look at this. This is the first time I've looked at the graph model this morning because I've used the HRRR. So let's go ahead and get back to the graphics here. So you can see right around 11 o'clock, those heavier bands starting to move through northwest Arkansas, then pushing towards the river valley. You notice those temperatures in the river valley are above freezing, at least according to the model. Something that we're going to have to watch closely, though, because if we're at or below freezing, it will be freezing rain. Northwest Arkansas, sleet, freezing rain mixture expected. This will stick really easily. Those temperatures are overdone. I can tell you right now, those temperatures are overdone. There is no chance we're sitting at 30 degrees at 2 o'clock p.m. in Fayetteville. We're getting max upper 20s. And with that precip continuing to kind of train over the same areas, you can kind of see, too, on this model, some of those heavier bands showing up there. So I'm going to pause it right here again. And you can kind of see that rain sneaking up there. This is where we have that thunder sleet, thunder freezing rain potential where those convective bands set up. And even the models are picking up on that, which is quite interesting. Now, as we move throughout Monday, late afternoon, early evening, we'll see that first wave of energy move out of the area. But look at this. We wake up tomorrow morning on Tuesday, and everybody is below freezing, and we're going to stay below freezing as we go throughout Tuesday. Now, this is the first time I've seen the graph model and what it depicts for Tuesday. Look at that. It's got 18 degrees in Bentonville and Rogers at 7 o'clock in the morning. I buy that. I do buy that. And then you can see here comes that precipitation right around 10, 11 o'clock on Tuesday, probably a little bit earlier than that, to be honest, for most locations in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But every single location is well below freezing. Now, if we're sitting at 31, 32 degrees in the River Valley, that could be a saving grace because it is a little bit of a struggle for freezing rain to accumulate as well if temperatures are just marginally freezing. However, I do think the models are overdoing the temperature still for tomorrow. I think we'll be really in the upper 20s, maybe even middle 20s in the River Valley. Dan, I don't know if you agree with me on that or not. I think 31 degrees is too warm for Fort Smith tomorrow.
And here's the deal. This is something that I've learned over the years with ice storms and with winter weather potential is that even though it is 31 and you're thinking it's not going to accumulate as much, everything is chilled already and covered in ice. And so that actually means that whenever that rain falls, it's going to freeze more than what the actual temperature shows. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
and I'll tell you what, the graph.
I think you're right. How did the graph handle the temperature trends? I know Zach was showing it yesterday, did a great job covering this, talked about how bridges and overpasses would be slick because of the freezing drizzle, also that you couldn't see it on the radar, all that stuff. So how did the graph handle the temperatures this morning?
It did pretty well this morning, actually. The temperatures, lower 20s in northwest Arkansas, upper teens in southwest Missouri. I think it was a little bit warmer. Or it was a little bit too warm.
Yeah.
But it had a better idea than the HRRR. I'll tell you that much. The HRRR and all these other models were way off.
You gotta love weather just impacting so many things. So there it is. It's WWE Monday Night Raw. That's going to be it. Yeah, that's a big deal, man. It's a big deal.
I'll tell you what's raw, Dan.
Roman Reigns. This weather system is taking the reins as Roman Reigns is trying to get to the BOK Center.
It's taking
the
freezing rains.
Do you think the event at the BOK Center in Tulsa will be canceled tonight? I don't know. I think the precipitation moves out, don't you? You're showing it moving out. What time does it move out, Josh?
Yeah, so according to the graph.
Let's go back to Monday night.
Yeah, so we'll start here. So Monday, right around 4 o'clock, it's starting to try to push out the Northwest Arkansas and River Valley area.
I don't think it's going to be canceled.
Yeah, I think Tulsa will be fine by later tonight. Here's the thing, though. I'll tell you this, Dan. If I go forward a little bit here and go to Tuesday and look at the precipitation shield it has, that's way underdone.
That's way underdone?
Yeah.
Oh, underdone. Oh,
underdone. That's
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I like to look at, the trusty map. And there's a lot of energy out west.
Yep.
And I'll show you.
I'm going to pull up this comment real quick, Dan, so we can.
It might just be a matter of. Yeah.
Short answer, no.
What's going on?
Not even close. I pulled up a comment here. Is this anywhere near the 2009 ice storm? No.
See, everybody has to remember that 2009 ice storm actually already happened. So it's like this has to happen, but in order for it to, that's the problem. Like you can't compare something. Now, as far as the conditions are concerned, yes, it was the same, but some mesoscale features did a lot of different things to make that ice storm tremendous, including, I think the 850 millibar temperatures were a lot warmer, which, by the way, we can look at, and we'll take a look at, and I'll show you what I mean. But first of all, this is what I wanted to show with this comp map. So this is a great resource to look at vorticity. And vorticity is the amount of spin in the atmosphere. So here's one wave. Models absolutely stink at this type of pattern where this southwesterly flow and the models miss all these pieces of energy moving into Baja. And that produces a lot more precipitation than expected because they don't handle this down in the Southwest. They just don't. They're terrible at it. They've always been. I think they always will be. And there's not a lot of plane traffic here. There's no ACARS data. There's no soundings that are being represented. I know that satellite attributes to some of it, but it still struggles big time. There's the energy it's swinging in. So there's our system that comes in on Tuesday. Now, here's the actual upper level low. It's quite a ways to the southwest. So, Josh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring up some of the everybody's asking about the 2009 ice storm. So let's look at it, and I'll show you what it looked like.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, that ice storm that we had in 2009 was, in my opinion, one of the worst natural disasters in Arkansas history. And it'll be extremely hard for something like that to happen again. You got to have a lot of things come together. And we'll see what you're about to show in just a minute, Dan, that everything came together for this to be literally the perfect storm. Or I guess imperfect storm, if you really want to get technical.
Yeah.
But with that system too, that moved through, it was just constant freezing rain, just all day, all night. It didn't stop. Here we're kind of getting some breaks in the action. It's kind of like multiple rounds of precip. And of course, the models are underdoing it, so you can always get more than what they're showing. But again, I don't imagine this will even be close to that in terms of accumulation totals.
All right, so that's really small because that's the way this looks, but I'm going to make it bigger.
There
Okay.
we go.
So this is January. Oh, it's going to be kind of hard to control now that it's so big. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the area.
Yeah.
So here's, yeah, but I'm going to make it a little smaller. Okay.
Skadoosh.
All right. So this is January 25th, meaning a day before the ice storm. And lo and behold, look at what we've got. A system diving in the Pacific Northwest, diving southeast. I got to scroll up a little bit. Yeah, it's tough. I can't see it. There we go. I think you can still see it. I wanted to get the times on there. And we'll look at the upper level winds too. So there's 12Z on the 26th of January. One little wave of precipitation coming in off of Baja. There's the system. There's the spin. There's the system. There's the spin. So pretty similar location, although I say this is a little more of an intense system. And it's more of an open wave instead of closed. This is already closed. So when it's closed, it means that it's not as strong. And
Pretty similar track.
Very similar track.
Yeah.
So there's the system on the 27th. A few areas of precipitation. So this is the 26th. So we had a little bit of ice in the morning, and then the late morning, and then it stopped during the evening on the 26th. Now, the 27th is when things went nuts. And there's the system that's kind of developing and moving east. And look at that intensification right there as it was making its way through. And then you can see it racing off to the east. So it became another open wave. So it really was always an open wave that just accelerated and became negatively tilted. So this one doesn't do that. However, the track is very similar. So let's go back and let's look at the upper air and let's look at the 850 millibar wind temperatures. I'm going to do this one instead. This is better. There we go. SPC. All right. So first of all, here's that warm nose coming in right there. And so that shows a lot warmer. I mean, we're like 8 to 10 degrees above zero for the area. I don't know if you can see that, Josh.
I can.
And so that still remained. That is the night of the 27th, and then there's the cold air that came in. So it's not quite as warm as the ice storm. Now, last thing we'll look at is precipitation. So we can look at the radar composite, and we'll look at the South Plains. And so here's the radar for the ice storm. So obviously, there's everything quiet the 25th. Nothing happened the 25th at all. Little bit of a burst of some freezing drizzle and some light freezing rain. And then at this point, this is where the precipitation began. So the morning of the 26th, there it is, popping up a little bit here and there, showing up a little more. Then it kind of increased. This is all freezing rain, by the way.
Heavy freezing rain.
And then it stopped. So it started to move out. Now, this is where things went nuts, is the next day on the 27th.
Oh,
and so
my
look at that.
goodness.
Yeah, and you can see that just mesoscale banding developed right over us. And then
my goodness.
Yeah. And then it continued, and it continued, and it continued, and it continued. And this is some really, really heavy freezing rain. And then eventually the system moved out. And what's interesting is, remember I told you about the backside of those vorticity lobes? Look at this. This little band of snow was really heavy.
Man.
That was all snow.
Insult to injury.
There it is coming. Oh yeah. And I was driving home about that time. Right
Oh,
as that
wow. I don't know
happened.
how you made it.
Hey, Joel. Joel's calling. Lisa Kelsey's husband. I'm gonna let you take over.
Well, I got to get into a call as well. I'm about to have to do the editorial meeting. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and put it on Mega Doppler, and then I'll be right back. And I got to get into the Zoom meeting real quick and talk about some things.
All right, sorry about that, guys. I had to take a call real quick. Um, so that's my boss that's wondering if she needs to travel up, and that was her husband wondering if she needs to go down and get him. or get her and get her and her daughter. And it's just it's dangerous. It's really dangerous right now. In fact, it appears that there's a new accident that just developed, because as I was looking at live traffic, this is stopped right here on this bridge. So this bridge that's crossing over Bullard Road appears to be stopped southbound. So this looks like a new accident that just popped up. And that's an area on I-49 southbound. Most of the areas on I-49 have been northbound, but those bridges are nasty. They're absolutely nasty. All right. Who's going to get hit the hardest? I think it's going to be Memphis. The Memphis area and southeast Oklahoma gets hit the hardest. Can't see anything on Mega Doppler. Yeah. This is a Mega Doppler. I was looking at iDrive Arkansas. So Mega Doppler is right here. You might not see precipitation. There's more moving in. Look at more popping up. And so this is going to be real big, unfortunately. But let me just sum up everything real quick, and then I'm going to shut this down because I got to get ready for work and I got to get in there so I can cover this stuff and give you updates. Josh is on that editorial call right now. So it came from this system that's been coming in over the last week, and the freezing drizzle is sometimes very deceptive. That could cause a lot of issues unexpectedly, because people don't see it on the radar. They don't think it's a big deal. Drizzle doesn't sound bad when it's freezing drizzle, when the temperatures are this cold. What this all stemmed from is the models being underdone on how cold it actually got and how quickly it got cold. That's the problem. That's where everything lies, Beth. So if you're asking where this came from, we were talking about winter weather. We talked about slick bridges and overpasses. We talked about a rough commute. We talked about winter weather potential this week from last week. So I don't think it's a surprise. I think that sometimes some of the details can be a little bit misconstrued. So let me sum all this up. We're expecting sleet in northwest Arkansas. Sleet does not accumulate as much as on power lines. There will be spots where freezing rain does fall. We're watching that warm nose to see if, in fact, it does warm up more than expected, which would lead to more freezing rain. I think the river valley is going to see more freezing rain. There is, in fact, an ice storm warning in central Arkansas. I'll bring this up and show you. And so there is the ice storm warning that's covered for Little Rock and central Arkansas, and it goes into Scott County. And just to let you know how long that ice storm warning is for, goes until 9 a.m. Wednesday. So 9 a.m. Wednesday is the ice storm warning. If we look at there you see it's a long time. It's a long system. Because we have more precipitation coming in tomorrow, that precipitation coming in tomorrow could be heavier and could lead to more ice accumulation in the river valley. After that, temperatures are expected to warm on Thursday and Friday, but that remains to be seen because Arctic air can be real stubborn. So I think that about sums up everything, guys. Just wanted to give you this Facebook Live update. Again, download our Weather Authority app. Zach put out an update the day before yesterday talking about how those overpasses would be rather nasty. Josh, you get done with that editorial meeting?
I did. All
right.
Keeping it on standby over here, but I kind of showed everybody the graphics.
We just have an issue with Lisa Kelsey. She's our general manager is trying to get home from Russellville. I don't think it's a good idea to drive. Her husband wanted to go down and get her, and he's in northwest Arkansas. He would have to take I-49, which, by the way, I think southbound has a new accident that's not showing up yet. But one of the bridges is stopped, and traffic is beginning to back up. So I'll bring this up. I'll show you what I'm talking about with iDrive Arkansas here. See that? That's stopped. Yep. And it's stopped, and it's getting backed up more and more and more. So there's There's no up. There's the accident report. Nope, that's
So it
still
just popped up.
northbound.
Hmm.
Just popped up. In fact, as I was looking at it, there's no traffic camera there, so we can't see it. But when we look at the satellite, there's a big bridge there. It's always this bridge, too, that's by West Fork that goes over Bullard Road.
Disaster area, right
That
there. Boston Mountains,
that's a new accident.
I-49. That's where things are going to get really rough because not only do we have a lot of bridges along that interstate, but or that stretch of interstate rather, but we also have the higher elevation as well, which further contributes to significant icing.
And those valleys where cold
Yep.
air settles in more. So this is a new accident south of West Fork, and look at how it's backing up now. I showed it earlier, and it was just right to here. That's it. It was just right here. It just happened. So I think that accident happened on the bridge southbound. It's not good.
Not good at all. And you saw that rollover too. We actually did get that on our cameras today during the morning show. That was near Grand Avenue along Interstate 540, which was ground zero for a ton of accidents this morning.
Yeah, there's that 18-wheeler accident. They still have that. They don't have that cleaned up either, but that's only the left shoulder. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the inside lane northbound, but not as much happening. This, by the way, is the traffic. This isn't showing the roads. So if we look at the roads, there you can see they're ice covered. I think we got a new that Pitkin corner, man. That bridge over Bullard Road is such a bear.
Disaster
For sure.
area.
All right. Well,
Wish we had cameras there.
man, I know it would be nice. I don't think it's real accessible internet wise, which is why I don't think there is a camera there.
Now, what do you think,
have to
Dan,
talk to-
about the power outage situation as we go into over the next few days?
Well, if it's sleet, we're good.
We're good.
If it
We're
doesn't,
Gucci.
if it doesn't stay as sleet, Northwest Arkansas is good. There will be spots that aren't good, like River Valley, LaFleur County, Scott County.
Mhm.
I'm kind of worried about them. They have that ice storm warning. It goes all the way through Wednesday morning, by the way.
Wow. There you go.
That's a long ice storm warning.
Which I do anticipate they extend the winter weather advisories as well beyond 6 a.m. Wednesday, based on what I'm seeing at least.
Yeah.
And I do think that there's the potential for a winter storm warning for sleet if these bands continue to hold together as they push towards the area.
They already had a half inch of sleet in Tulsa. It was just reported on an MPing report.
Yep. And that's winter storm criteria.
They had a report of some snow and graupel falling in Springdale. So, wow. Temperatures are still like fluctuating. But remember, it's when that energy comes in that those southerly winds are really going to crank up.
Yep.
That could lead to warming than expected.
Absolutely. It's so challenging.
Man.
It's such a challenging beast dealing with different precipitation types like this.
Look at the front. Look at the frontogenetic forcing right over us. You got to see some of this, Josh. Mesoscale analysis. Look at that frontogenetic forcing right over us.
Right on top of Northwest
And then you
Arkansas.
go to 800 to, so we look at the 925 to 850. 850 to 700. It's showing all that area. But we do have that warm air that's trying to move in.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
And
right there. Right on the
setups
850
like
millibar.
Yeah, setups like this, the warm air tends to win out.
Yeah. It's going to be close. Boy, I hope it stays sleet. So, all right, guys.
Yeah.
What makes graupel exactly? Oh, you got that graphic, Josh. We have that one. Type in graupel.
Mm-hmm.
So grapple is just basically it's super cooled water that has collected on snowflakes instead of them being perfect dendrites, which, by the way, looks like your profile there. It looks like a dendrite.
Kind of does.
NWAC closed for the day. There you go. All right, let me pop this up for you. So this is grapple. So it's snow that forms. It falls through a layer of super cool water droplets. Those droplets freeze or rime onto the snowflakes and tiny white pellets that resemble small hail, but they're soft. They're real soft. So go ahead and do that again.
Yes.
So snow forms, it's falling, but now it's starting to get those super cooled water droplets, and therefore it turns into a little slush ball. I call them Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots. That's a great way to describe them.
Tasty.
Just scoop some up and you can make your own at home.
Spitting tiny flakes in Gentry. Which, by the way, I was disappointed that I didn't have any snow ice cream.
No.
Didn't have a chance to make it.
Oh,
Yeah.
no snow ice cream.
You know, the tennis elbow has gotten better. I got some medication for it. I was lifting yesterday. I have a brace that I can put on my arm, so it has gotten better. It was hurting a little bit last night when I was sleeping. So Lena said, "Thank you for making sure we're all informed about the weather and the roads. You're very welcome. That's why we do what we do to let people know so they can make proper decisions and know what to expect." And Josh, I know you've covered it. Zach did a great job on the air last night. And yeah, I wouldn't say this is a surprise. Some people were saying this is a surprise. Where did this come from? I say that temperatures being colder might be the biggest surprise out of everything in terms of the models, but we knew that and we kind of expected that.
And we always explain that too in our weather forecast as well, because the models were struggling a lot, with the extent of that cold air. We knew it was going to be deeper than what it showed, or further south, excuse me, because it's not deep, it's shallow cold air. But we explained that in the weather forecast and in subsequent updates. So definitely not a surprise in terms of what we're seeing right now. I will say it was a little surprising to me, Dan, how cold it was this morning.
Yeah.
A little bit, but just a little bit.
Low to mid 20s.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Way cold. Models didn't have that. I didn't have that on Thursday. I wanted to put that, but just, we've got this forecasting contest, and that just seems like it was a little bit too cold at the time, especially 4 days out. So I just should stick with my gut, though.
The gut.
Speaking of the gut, I did run yesterday, so I don't have as big of a gut. But anyways, Josh, I'm gonna head out. You do have plans otherwise instead of traveling to Bella Vista, and so that's good.
Yes.
And just everybody be careful and cautious, and we'll give you another update as things progress along. Let's see what that. Yeah, there's that. Look at that. That's backing up all the way to West Fork now. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me zoom out here.
I can see that in the side.
It's updating. It's updating. There it goes. It still only has that 2-vehicle accident northbound. Southbound is a problem.
Okay, we just got a new update, by the way. Winter storm warning has been issued for our area.
Okay, so I'm glad we didn't shut it off quite yet.
Let me go ahead and pull up the graphics here so we can see that.
There it is. I see it.
Yep. Let me look here. Let's see if it shows up on. There it is for Washington, Benton counties, east towards Madison County.
Yep.
There's that winter storm warning. And I'm assuming that's for sleet as well.
That's the majority of it is for sleet. But also looking at the precipitation trends. Yeah. Here, I'll read the verbiage on that winter
Alrighty.
storm warning. Well, it's not showing up on. Here you go. Heavy mixed precipitation, sleet accumulations around 1/2 an inch, and ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch. So the winter storm warning goes until 6 p.m. tonight, which makes sense. That doesn't mean it's over after 6. It just means that's the first round of precipitation that's coming in, Josh.
Sorry, I was answering a question in the
No,
call.
you're good.
Um,
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah. So is it for mainly sleet?
It's mainly for sleet, but also for some ice accumulation up to 1/10 of an inch. And it goes until 6 p.m. this evening. So that's going to be confusing to some people. They might think 6 p.m. Oh, okay, well, winter's over after 6. It's not. There's another system that comes in. Yep. So this is Benton County, Washington County, Carroll and Madison County, Southwest Missouri, Berry and McDonald County, and also Northeast Oklahoma, Sequoia, Delaware, and Adair County. As you can see, those areas under winter storm warnings.
And that's where that heavy precip is taking aim along that winter storm warning. That heavy precip that you're seeing on Mega Doppler there.
Yeah.
Is exactly where it's setting up.
So Kate is asking, is it looking more like sleet or ice? Kate, I want to know where you're at because let me know the area because that's going to determine what you get. If you're in Northwest Arkansas, it's going to be more sleet and perhaps a little bit of snow the farther north you go. Not a lot, mostly sleet. If you are farther south, it'll be more of a freezing rain in the River Valley. In the Ouachitas, it'll be mostly freezing rain, which is why there's an ice storm warning. You can see that area that's highlighted. Jacob, not over at 6 p.m., rather March 1st, meteorological, and the 21st, astronomical. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to do another YouTube post when I get into the station as we get a better idea of everything and the latest models and details on the roads and road conditions and all that stuff. So, Kate, it's going to be mostly sleet and freezing rain here with predominantly sleet, I hope. All right, let me say I hope. Okay. Well, I'm going to wait till Josh hops back on because I know he's answering that question, but I think that pretty much sums it up, Josh. I think we can shut it down here.
I think we can shut it down as well. But I'll say this. I would not be out on the roadways today here in Northwest Arkansas. I would avoid
those
travel.
big bridges. Yep.
But
I got to
like
go
I
into
said-
work here. I'll see how it is and check it out.
yeah.
Wow. I just got a picture I'm going to show you this, from my friend who lives in the Stonebridge area. And look at the difference in elevation. It's unbelievable. Look at this. So let me turn off the ring light here real quick. Look at that. Bring this up full. So you can see at the ground, there's barely anything. You go up just a few hundred feet, and those are trees that are encased in ice. That's where that freezing fog developed. And that's where that freezing drizzle was. Pretty wild how that little of elevation, that's only a few hundred feet. That's not much. Wow. That's incredible.
It's incredible how much of a role elevation plays in everything. Even here in Northwest
feet.
Yeah. Like you think about it, right? Like when you think about elevation, you typically think about the Rocky Mountains, right? You get up in the mountains and you see a ton of snow, and then you get down a little bit lower in elevation, you get nothing. Even here in Northwest Arkansas, like you said, just a few hundred feet make all the difference. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. Definitely mostly sleet in Hiwassee. Okay, that's good.
Okay, that's good to hear.
It's starting to sleet really good. In fact, bring up our weather bug camera and grab it. I bet you we can see that sleet come, or Decatur for that matter.
Oh yeah. Hold on, I can actually do that from here.
Yeah.
Well, gravit's down.
Oh, great. Sometimes
here's
when it gets
Decatur.
really cold.
See the ice coating on the trees there.
That's not good. Look at
It's
that.
not good at all.
That is a lot of coating.
Yeah.
Now, if it goes to sleet, then we're okay. We're better. Did you go back to that the Decatur camera again? Look at the ground. The ground is covered. It looks like in white. It looks like they
It
had a
does
little
look like
snow
white.
too.
Yeah.
Snow and sleet.
Snow and sleet and freezing rain all coming together.
Wow, look at the difference. And then go to Bella Vista.
Mm-hmm.
There's barely anything. Look at the wind though. Man, that wind is stout.
I can't confirm though that if you get into those hills in Bella Vista, you're not making it out.
Yeah.
Fulbright, nothing much. Looks like a more sleet starting to accumulate.
Mm-hmm.
Graduate Hotel,
Not much.
not much going on there. Kessler Mountain, look at all that ice on the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Mount Sequoia, you can see the ice on the trees. Elevation making a big difference there. Miss Laura's, nothing much going on there.
Highway 64 bridge looks okay.
Yep.
Driving along fine. The temperatures are going to warm a little bit. The roads will insulate, even though the sunshine, the radiation will warm the roads a little. There's there's Lincoln, right?
Mm-hmm. That's Lincoln.
Uh-huh.
Mount Magazine.
Yeah.
Now look at Cartwright. I saw your picture of this.
Yeah.
That's an icy wonderland.
Yeah, it is.
P Ridge has a interesting view as well. You could see the glaze of ice on the football field.
Yeah, and on the bleachers too.
Mm-hmm. Rogers Pinnacle Parkway Towers, Cam. Traffic's going nice and slow right now, which is good to see. You should be taking it slow. Prairie Creek.
Lake level still low.
Yeah, very low. Wow. Salem Springs. Not much going on there. You can see that light glaze on the trees, though, in the background.
But if we go back to that radar, look. Here, I'll bring this one up. I'm zoomed in a little more. Salem Springs is just about ready to get into the burst of sleet. You can see that translating eastward and picking up. Oh, and some lightning too. Someone asked about lightning. We don't know, Marco, exactly when lightning will strike. That's if we knew that, we'd be really smart.
10:45:02.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, there you go. You are really smart, Josh.
Oh,
I
I
had
think
no idea. Now there are some lightning bolts that are showing up south of Tulsa, and in about a half hour it'll approach northwest Arkansas. That instability may not make it all the way here. I think it does though. But okay. Well, I think was that all the cameras you wanted to show?
Yeah, that's all the cameras. Basically went through them all there. So I think we are ready to wrap this up.
We're golden. All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks, Josh. We'll catch you later.
Alrighty.
I'm going to bring my inflatable mattress.
That's probably a good idea.
Some sheets too. Oh, brother. I'm ready for pool weather.
Sleepover.
Yeah. I'm ready for pool weather.
Pool weather, and you know what? 100-degree weather. Bring it on.
Oh, someone said on the YouTube community page you will have a voting question for which time thunder will strike after lightning. When are you going to be doing more? We'll do more this afternoon.
Marco.
So, Polo, we'll do one around. We'll do one around noon. So in about a couple hours. All right, guys. See ya. Take care.